Hey guys, this is Camelia again and welcome back to my channel. So today I will be doing another opinion video. So I wanted to talk about selfishness and the dynamics of selfishness. Now obviously disclaimer, selfish people in its absolute true definition are, obviously horrible. They are obviously very good for themselves, but only themselves. They are really bad for the rest of us, for the rest of society. I don't really need to go into many details. But the thing is that with any word like selfish, whether a word has any good kind of meaning or association or bad, people kind of tend to, alter the definition as to their best interpretation or how they would perceive that word. So thing is with selfishness, or rather selfish people, a lot of people who are, right in their own way or just in what they do, they get tagged as selfish where they're not selfish because, selfish people are basically kind of people who only think about themselves, where to the point that they place everyone else below them or demean them, and basically it's a negative thing. So if you are thinking about yourself and putting yourself first, that doesn't necessarily make you selfish in a bad way. And I guess that even if you are selfish, it's not necessarily always a bad thing. How? Well, let me get into it. Selfishness. Think of selfishness as a person who, let's say, sacrifices love for their career or chooses not to have a baby because they would rather kind of place importance on their own career or their health or their body, whatever, And obviously that sounds selfish, but at the same time, it's like, yes, they're looking after themselves, but at least they're not faking or lying about something or just sticking to something they don't want to stick to, and thereby just avoiding any type of responsibility or just making themselves happy, which in turn make other people, unhappy around them. So essentially, it's not exactly selfish to think about your own self, where in a traditional sense of selfishness, yes, it does make you seem like a prick, but in reality, it's like, yes, I am looking after myself, but at least I'm not going out there and hurting other people. So do you know what really selfishness is? So example, it could be a mother, and you would think, mother who has many children, they love children. How are they selfish when they love their own children? So let's just say, two people bring a child into this world, and of course they're very loving towards their children or whatever, but their intention behind bringing a child in is that they kind of view them as some sort of like an investment, as in when they get older, they will make sure that their children grow up to be rich, and not because they want success for their children, but because they want to be really well off, and they kind of want to, like, I don't know, reap the benefits of their children's money. And I'm not saying that children should not take care of their parents. No, they should. But if you just bring a child into this world only for the sole purpose of the fact that they are an investment, so they should really give you a benefit when they grow up, whether that is, it doesn't even need to be in some monetary form. Maybe you're bringing a child into this world to make them basically what you wanted to be, but you couldn't be. So it's like they are living your dreams, or just living this kind of version of what you wanted to be for you. So basically you treat them like a doll, like they don't have any personality, like they don't have any kind of taste or traits. No, they're just simply there to be your puppet. I think that a parent who is like that is way more selfish than a couple who decides not to have children because they want their careers to advance, or they just simply, a woman doesn't really want to kind of impact her health or impact her body. So I think that if you really do, in this example, bring children into this world only for your own desires or because you want something out of them, that is way more selfish. And obviously being a parent isn't the only kind of definition of true selfishness. So it could be even be in love, like we've always heard about how like the woman or the man kind of sacrifices her job for her lover, because you can get several jobs, but you can't get love once again or whatever. But then if someone chooses to sacrifice love and really go after their dreams, then we call them selfish. But it's really not, because I mean, obviously you got to stop at a certain point in terms of career, but is that person really selfish for wanting to fulfill their dreams and to go ahead? I mean, each person has different priorities from life, so we can't really label them as right or wrong unless we're in that position ourselves. And with things like love, it's like some people want love, some people don't, some people want career. So as long as someone is really good at communicating what their priorities are, then everything is just super fair. Meanwhile, with actual selfishness, it could be that you really expect someone to sacrifice everything about them for you, then it's not love. So real selfishness isn't putting yourself first above others, really. It's more like expecting other people to sacrifice everything about themselves, just expecting a lot of kind of unreasonable things for you, when it's more kind of about being a narcissist and being more self-centered and only thinking more about yourself, while you're okay with the fact that other people may be hurt because of you. Or if you do go along with something and everyone calls you a good person and you're right in the eyes of society, but you do it for kind of some kind of really bad societal benefit, or really just for you with selfish intentions, I would say, then that really does make you selfish. So I don't think that selfish people are those who like spending money for themselves, don't want to have children, sacrifice love, think of careers. No, it's just, if in a relationship or any kind of relationship, if you are really belittling other people or just kind of considering yourself more, worth more than them, and showing that in tiny little bits and pieces, then I guess you are actually selfish, if that makes any sense. So the definition of selfishness, having said anything, obviously it's different for everyone. So while the other person may not have, maybe they're not meaning to hurt you, but maybe they've taken some action which has completely pushed you away. So in that case, you consider them selfish because you may have felt hurt by it, then obviously it's okay. But I guess it's better to just communicate over what your feelings are. But to really just judge someone by calling them selfish without being in their own position is not cool. Now, obviously there are instances, where you are downright selfish. Like, for example, let's say you've chosen to have a baby where you were obviously allowed a choice. It's not like you didn't have a choice whether to say yes or no. Let's say you choose to have a baby, or you choose to be in a relationship and there's no one really forcing you or even manipulating you to do anything, and you in your very own right mind choose to be in that, and then later you're just done or you're bored or whatever, and then you decide to sacrifice the other person away, then obviously you are selfish. But I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about people who place themselves first without trying to hurt anyone else. So in that case, obviously you can call them self-centered, but in that case it's just more judgment than rather anything. So the construct of selfishness, the dynamics is kind of just like iffy at this point, because a lot of people can seem like they have some kind of negative thing going on about them, when in reality it's totally fine to focus on yourself as self-care, whether you kind of distance yourself from others, or you put yourself above others, or you prioritize your needs. I guess the main thing that counts is that if you're doing something on purpose to hurt others, where you know that this will benefit you, but it'll hurt them, but you just don't care because you don't care about anyone, that is real selfishness. And selfishness isn't just acts. It can be kind of forms of emotional manipulation as well. It's not just a very strict or harsh decision, like I'm not gonna have this child, I'm not gonna be in this relationship, I'm not gonna take care of my parents, I'm not gonna donate to blah blah blah. No, it could just be emotional selfishness as well, where for example, maybe you have a friend or you have some sort of sibling or some kind of like parents or kids, you know, and you just don't want them to be with other people, whether that's friendship, love, or whatever, because you just want them to only be all for you. That is also selfishness. So these were examples of selfishness, and I hope that helped. So, or maybe not, but either way, I just wanted to put my point out there. So thank you for listening, and bye.